Okay, it is with great pleasure that I want to introduce our sitting congressman who has been serving us so well, a voice of reason and sanity in the U.S. Congress. We need to give him our thanks. We need to re-elect him. So stand up and give a hand to Representative Tom O'Halloran.
So technology is not my thing. First of all, though, there's sign-up sheets in the back, and anybody that wants to volunteer for the Space Force, go back there and join. I know it's going to be something that's going to be new and adventurous, but in reality, it won't even start until, maybe the next century, because there's no way that the Defense Department is totally against it. Totally against it. And so anyway, what's going on in Washington, D.C. that is important to you, and I know you've heard a lot about the tax bill, but maybe you haven't heard what it really is doing to America. I just want to talk a little bit about that. Initially it was $1.5 trillion. That's how it passed. It passed that way because that amount allowed it to be voted on differently in the Senate and get out. Otherwise, if you got over that amount, it would be a different type. It would be a 60-vote threshold. So immediately after the vote, within 3 months after the vote, it went up, and this is the administration's number, $1.8 trillion. If you include interest into it, it's $2.3 trillion. The thing that bothers me the most, and I think, if we needed a tax cut for the corporations that were flush with cash, or as my brother said, he had a decent amount of money, he's made something. He said, I don't need a tax cut. I'm well off. And then we made the tax cut 83% of it for corporations, 2% on top. And 17% went to American workers, small business, the families that have had a hard time and have bailed out those same corporations over that last number of years. And it was not permanent. One to corporations was permanent. The one to the people of America was 7 years. And you go, why did that happen? They had a choice. The choice was either to make the corporations and the 1 to 2% permanent, or make the people of America the permanent ones, and make the 7-year corporations another. Now, they chose to forget the American people. They chose to not only have 17% for the American people. And so, what do the American people do? They consume. Most of them, when they get money in their pocket, they go out and consume things, buy things, cars, whatever you want to think of. And who benefits? Corporations, the American workers. Because they have to make it, corporations are entitled to a decent return on investment, and we want them to reinvest in the country. Well, that's right. This tax bill was going to have that occur. Well, $1.1 trillion so far has been spent on bringing money to buy back stock. $1.1 trillion. There is no guarantee that they're going to reinvest that. In fact, they haven't so far. There is no guarantee that that money will make its way back to the consumer's part of the market. It will probably end up going into pension plans, which is great, and going into people that are going to either buy more stock and reinvest. We're not going to see tomorrow this huge amount of money in reinvestment. They hadn't done it with trillions of dollars before this tax bill, and they're not doing it now. But the other side, of course, is it's going to bring all these jobs back from overseas and all this money. That hasn't occurred either. The money that has come back, a small amount, has gone into the bank accounts of the corporations and has been paid now those taxes. The rest of it's staying in those countries. And not only is it staying in those countries, but those countries are competitive with us. If we lower the tax rate down to 21%, they'll lower theirs down even further. If we have a tremendous amount, our corporations have a tremendous amount of investment over there. And yet, you don't see a bunch of factories coming back. And forget about the idea that we're opening up 7 new steel mills. There hasn't been 1 cent of idea that this was, not one. U.S. Steel hasn't ever yet acknowledged even that they're going to build one plant. And if they did, I think they'd be a little crazy because we're awash with steel in the world. Just awash with it. So, when they make money now overseas, our corporations, which I hope they do, it's the credit market, they won't be taxed on that anymore. They don't have to worry about bringing it back to the shores here, because they'll be taxed by that country and no taxes by us. Complete different scenario. So that's just a few of the problems with the tax bill. Everybody heard about infrastructure. I know Harriet was down at my last speech earlier this morning. So Harriet, I'm sorry to bore you. But infrastructure, we talked about it for about 3 months. And then after 3 months, we started talking about health care. And then after about August of 2017, we stopped talking about health care because they didn't want to talk about it anymore. And they did meet a couple of times. And then we started talking about taxes. That was the discussion in 2017. Well, once in December 2017 they passed the tax bill, I can guarantee you we aren't going to be talking about much infrastructure next year. We did put $20 billion into infrastructure for this budget period because we had to do something along those lines. But the bill that they want to put forward was $1.5 billion. The math is real easy. If you take $1.5 billion out of the budget, it's hard to replace it with $1.5 billion of borrowed money, so, to do the infrastructure for America, to make sure we're competitive, to make sure our schools are competitive across the world. All these other issues that go into a strong country and strong economic development. So I see no way that bill can make it out, definitely in its present form, which is a form that says the federal government will contribute $200 billion, and state, city, town, county will contribute the rest. So if you got a tax cut and they get their current infrastructure bill through, you can forget about your tax cut because the bill's coming to you one way or the other. On health care, we need to have a discussion. It's critical that our nation has to have a discussion on health care. It hasn't happened since August, really, of 2017. We've tried to bring it to the floor any number of times. Just say, let's discuss it. A group that I belong to, the problem solvers, has said, they asked Collins and Alexander, what's his last name? Alexander. They were working in the Senate to try to get a health care bill out. They took our base approach, a bipartisan approach, started working off of that, and the leadership said you're going nowhere. Even though we had bipartisan support in the House. And we know, at least in the Senate, there are some people over there that are willing to work across the aisle. And I think that's good, because we as a country aren't going to go very far if all we do is look, the chart looks like this all the time. We win, we lose. We win, we lose. Instead of the American people win. And so I think we have to find, if this Washington were a business, it would be a business that failed a long time ago. Forget about the debt. You have to be able to solve problems in any business, or else you go out of business. And that's what's been occurring in our government. So we're trying to find those leverage points in order to address those issues. Now, I know that a lot of people are concerned across the nation with these issues, which are bothersome to Congress because we get taken off in different ways. My background is partially on addressing situations as a police officer with a special operation. And with the people that were under my command, we had a situation, we said it's a hostage situation. We would address that issue. That was the priority issue. It wasn't 1,000 other issues. It was that. So we as a country need to find those 5 or 6 or 7 priorities and work on it. And stop the political junk that we're doing. Where's mental health care? Where's health care in general? And so all this stuff that is going on in Washington diverts us, sadly, as a party, from addressing the real issues and showing real leadership at the American. We better do it when we take back the House. Because if we don't do that, then we will have the House for just a little bit of time. And think about the consequences. The last election, 2016, we got defeated because of a few states. We also got defeated because 70-some thousand Democrats either voted for somebody else or didn't vote at all in those states. And now we see what it means for elections to have consequences. In this case of the Supreme Court, these consequences could last 20 or 30 years. And they still have the ability to maybe get more justice. In the case of bills going through Congress, when you think about what occurs, the consequences, for every bill that is signed by the person that leads the administration, what occurs is that's going to be a 10, 15-year struggle to get that back to where it was. And when it comes to the future of our children and the health care earnings, I've seen the skinny budget that the administration's put forward. It's as bad as the one last year. Now, it's dead on arrival. Even the Republican leadership doesn't like it. And we've worked through 6 of the budget bills. Not we haven't been allowed to be part of that. But there are 6 budget bills that have been passed to come on to the main budget. We have 6 more to go. And the leadership is clear that we won't get to it by the end of September. Now, I'm standing before you as a member of Congress who thinks that I've written 2 letters to the Speaker saying, call us bad. If you were to say your business is having a problem, you're having a problem finding money for the critical programs and priorities of America, and you as the owner are the only one that can bring this together, and you say, no, I think I'll take a few months off. Well, in this case, it's not taking it off. I'm out here. I work with constituents. We just finished up 17 days on the road. But can you imagine what that would look like to the people that are in your business when you say, I'm leaving even though we have a crisis? And we have a crisis. 72,000 people dead because of COVID. And I'm standing here instead of being taxed. A healthcare system that is going to increase Arizona's premiums by at least $1,300. And we're out of sight. A hole in the budget that will continue to increase because even though we were told it's going to pay for itself, they've now said it won't. A concern that we have worldwide problems where people are going around the world, persons going around the world, and saying that the people of the world, you are former allies because we don't believe in you anymore, because we don't think you're fair to us. We're going to forget about you, and we're going to talk to some of the nations that have been our historical adversaries. They don't say anything. They've been adversaries. Because when the Russians were in World War II, we fought beside them. We got them out of their mess. When the Chinese were in World War II, we had our troops over there helping out. We were sending things for them. For some reason, they forgot about it. And until they remembered that they shouldn't invade other countries without appropriate cause, until they understand that they shouldn't attack our election system, then they are not somebody to be trusted. And I don't know where, I'm 72 years old, I don't know where in my lifetime that I've ever seen anything like it. So if you think about Washington, these are some of the factors to think about. I didn't bring up the investigation because of why? Because it's an investigation. It's still going on. We want it to continue until its conclusion. When it concludes, we'll find out what really occurred. I have full trust and faith in the people that are conducting that investigation. But I don't like the idea that people are going to try to address it by basically doing away with it. But that's not going to happen. I don't think the people of America will allow it to happen. Republican or Democrat. This is a critical issue for our country going forward. And we have to look at it this way. This impacts the future. What we do with the State Department impacts the future. The proposal was to cut the State Department by 33%. Even the Defense Department said, what do you do? No, they did cut it. They did delay ambassadorship. They stopped appointing people in other levels of the State Department. In fact, almost every department in the nation right now, if I were to go out and we're trying to get something done expeditiously, it's almost impossible. Or you name it. It's almost impossible. Because they haven't hired people to fill those positions to make it occur in the normal pace of business. Elections have consequences. Now, in this district, we've had a pretty good run. And we've been able to help out on uranium issues on the reservation up in Navajo. We've been able to get $100 million for 3 new schools in Arizona and 2 new Bureau of Canadian Education schools in New Mexico. That's in addition to other schools that will be developed. There's 5 to 10 total that will be addressed. Obviously, the caucus is 100% on health care, 100% on every major issue that hit there. The leadership came to us and said, we need your vote and we don't need you to go somewhere else. You're 100%. And Colin Peterson was probably the most conservative Democrat there is in Congress. Has been for 20-some years. He voted right with us every time because he saw the importance of what was occurring. We are on many issues. There's bipartisan. It's not the major one. And leadership is about uniting. It's about bringing people together. It's about finding resolutions to these issues. So if we just don't address these issues and close our eyes, the only thing we're doing is it's going to cost more, it's going to make more people either sick or die. And when you have 72,000 people just opiates, and then you have violence on our streets and in our schools, and I'm on 7 bills that for effective control of violence in America. And not one of those bills is going to hit the floor. Not one. Even the one they could agree on, both sides, hasn't hit the floor. It went through a regulatory process that could be undone overnight. And so, this is the amount of cooperation that we've had is very small. The amount of true leadership is very little. The idea that we've been called the party that is obstruction is just, it's ludicrous. When we tried to work on health care, You made a deal at the table, our leadership left, he changed his mind overnight. We made a deal on guns and legislation on the Second Amendment. He left the table, he didn't say one thing, he gets a phone call, and there is no bill. Nothing goes through. I can go on and on, but you get the idea. I haven't seen one instance that the Democratic Party has tried to say, let's try to get together. Not one. Chuck Schumer even said, build the wall. Just let us talk and get the DACA students and their families and immigration reform done. You want the wall? Because these are lives. You can deal with that. And here we are. DACA hasn't been addressed yet. There's no reason. We have more than enough votes to get it passed on the floor, and we have more than enough reason to get it done. 80% of the American public plus wants it done. So, all I can do is say, this is a critical juncture in our statistics. I know I look back at many elections over the course of my life here in the country, and I've heard a lot of them, this is critical. Those were political statements. This is real. This is going on now. It's impactful to our children, our grandchildren. Our grandchildren are probably going to live to 100 years old. This process that's not going here could impact them all their lives. If it changes the dynamics of our country and we allow it to happen. I don't want to see that happen. You don't want to see that happen. And so the only way to stop that, put it in its place, is to at least get the House passed. Hopefully the Senate did. The Senate's a little deeper, harder climb. But whatever goes on, we're going to get it back by 5 or 10 positions, or they're going to keep it by 5 or 10. That's what it's come down to. I remember the 45, we're going to 46, oh, we're going to get 50 seats. We're not going to get 50 seats. And if we don't watch out, we don't work really hard, elections have consequences, and we'll find that out again. And we'll empower the administration. And the administration will put more fear into the Republicans who don't work with the Democrats. Now, most people know whether I was in the legislature or here in Congress. I believe in bipartisan. I believe I can find people without giving up the values of the Democratic Party. And they don't have to give up the values of the Republican Party. All we have to do is think about our core issue. Service to the American people. And a better future for our children. And yet, that's threatening when an administration like this has that type of power over people that should be taking a leadership role and aren't. We found probably 50 or so that are willing to discuss it. That's through hard work over a year and a half. Problem solvers had 24 Republicans in it, 24 Democrats. The New Dems have 70 members. And the Tuesday group over in the Republican side, we're not sure how many they have. They're like the Freedom Caucus. They don't want to tell their membership how many. And the Tuesday group doesn't want to tell them assault preservation. Who gets attacked from it in a second. People know some, not all. So these are important groups. I know some people might not agree with them, but we have to have this discussion. We're going to take back the United States and take back the power that allows us to address the issue. I had my second caucus. One of the senior members of the caucus got up and very, very, very progressive member. And he said, pointed out to the audience, he said, all you other people, we don't need. We will address this issue. Within 2 weeks, leadership and others, since that time, 2 weeks after, we haven't had that issue at all. Because everybody that's a ranking member right now knows that they want their chairmanship. And And the way is through the people throughout our country and showing leadership. And as I discussed with her, Nancy Pelosi knows she can't win this district. I know I can't win her district. But we both have to be able to work together for the sake of the Democratic Party and the people of America. And that's what we're going to try to do. What we have to do is a position of power, not a position of weakness, a position of leverage, and not being told what to do and then being told that when you try, you're obstructionist. Leadership has to overcome those things and move forward. So one of the things I've been asked to talk about is what does leadership look like in House in the immediate future. It's up in the air. We have the Black Caucus, we have the Hispanic Caucus, we have the moderates and the New Gen. We have people that are very conservative. We have all this going on, and everybody wants a leadership role. Now, it's like America, so everybody should be represented. But there are a lot of people that are now looking at, if we take control, who's going to be speaker, who's going to be the majority leader. And I can guarantee you, if it's only by 5 or 10 votes, it's going to be hard for our current leadership to get where they need to be. Because there just isn't, we can't keep losing year after year after year, or come this close, and not have a hard group of people that we have to be able to overcome the few that might go major issues, go over the other side. And so we need a majority that's a solid majority, and people are upset. And they're upset for many reasons. First of all, it's August now. Since February 17th, I've been asking leadership and others, where's our marketing plan? I get back, you have to win your districts, and you don't see the party, you don't use it. Thank you, I want to use them. We do need a marketing plan. In a district like this, if the national field, the Democratic Party, is one that is not going to lead us forward. I don't ask them to tell the certain people exactly what they're going to do, but they have to identify clearly that the Democratic Party are the leaders, have been the leaders, have been the people that look to both small business and working, and by the way, have done a great job with corporations in the past. Let's forget about what these other people do. Here's the record, and let them know what that record is. And let them know what we stand for. And so, reform is going to be one of the major issues of leadership. The problem solvers have come out with a reform package, bipartisan reform package, that is going to require that bipartisan bills get through the committee system. It's going to require that if 218 votes are shown, and on the bill, that whatever, it'll go through the committee system. But if we have 218 votes, it's not going to change it. It must come to the floor for a vote. You can't hold it up. One person, we talk about dictatorships and the fear of dictatorships, and yet we come into our governmental body, the home of our republic, and one person could hold up everything. And what did they do in 2013? They held up an immigration bill that if it had passed, we wouldn't even be talking about immigration today. So I'm going to wrap up here because I rambled on here about what I feel is going on there, the problems that are associated with it, and I'm open up for questions.
I think you touched on this, but I hear concern that our elections, our election system can't be trusted because it's been invaded or hacked, and there's no point in voting because it's not voting.
Well, first of all, our Defense Department gets hacked about $100 yes, they were hacked. Anybody who doesn't believe that, they got some problems. But what has occurred that I'm on armed services. So what has not occurred is that we're able now to address it from all the intelligence people working together. That's important. And understanding that the elections process itself, the machines are not tied to the internet. So then we have to look at what is tied to the internet. How do we defend it? And we'll defend it with a much better eye on what is attacking it, having the experts from 17 intelligence agencies working to counterattack on the counter side, and being able to put as much trust in the American people as we can right now that their election is true and fair. And I think, for the most part, it was problematic last night. It's the other side of the election system that's concerned. It's the other side of the dark money. The other side of somebody from another country being able to interject into our politics and our elections with false propaganda on a huge scale. That's where we need to have a fight. And it's not just about changing that. We have to change the way government is run. We have to reform how the money flows into the democratic system. Because if it continues to go this way, you can hide money 15 different ways from foreign countries into it. And technology, oh yeah, it's overwhelming. We are going to be in cyber war for the life of our children and our grandchildren. That's a fact. And we are our space assets. I know why he wants a spaceship. But folks, we need to protect those assets. That is probably one of the weakest links we have as a country, because all of our military is based on that. Anything that addresses precision, guidance, is based on that. And believe me, the Chinese and the Russians have made great advances in that area. Great advances. We're good. I still think we're better than them. By the way, I'm on the armed services thing, so it's a little bit easier for me to get that. But am I comfortable? Not at all. I'm not comfortable with them being able to impact our elections, not by how we vote, but by how we take. And everybody knows the word propaganda. It's just today being able to understand what is propaganda and what isn't propaganda. And we do that two ways. Stop all this money flow, and then on the other side, set up requirements that I can't go out with an ad and lie to the American people. How do you become a leader as a liar? I want to get your vote. I'm going to lie to you now. I'm going to tell you the truth the rest of the time I'm in office. No, that doesn't work out. I saw one back there. Yeah.
I'm glad you're here, Tom. I wondered, you mentioned the Arizona Corporation Commission. Could you speak about, for a minute, about that lawsuit, that corruption lawsuit that Johnson Water Company?
Johnson Water. I mean, the Corporation Commission could have taken care of this. Is almost it's over a 2-decade issue. I was in that Natural Resource Committee in 2001, for a number of years, in the House and in the Senate. And that was an issue then. And the Corporation Commission would not take it up. It's been these folks that are involved in that, it's terrible. And they've had water shortage after water shortage, they've had mismanagement after mismanagement, and yet the Corporation Commission did not resolve the problem until just now. So I don't know why it occurred, but it's obvious that it's not the way it should have occurred, and that there's better ways to approach these problems. And that's one of the areas that the public in Arizona don't fully understand, the power of the Corporation Commission to your daily lives, whether it's water or corporations or whatever. Over there, that girl over there.
I've got a pipe dream that we take a majority in the House this year, and the first thing we do is hold hearings on the status of the income tax the IRS cuts that they've experienced to their budget and to their personnel, and the wide open, dark money corridors of the foundations and the various faux welfare committees that are, not committees, but foundations that are set up under the IRS code. I mean, that's a rotten thing, and if you had hearings, you may not be able to get legislation through, but you could air it out. Is there any thought out there that the IRS would be an entryway into some of this corruption?
If the House can come back to being able to be in majority, then we can have hearings.
Yeah.
Right now, we can request a hearing forever. It's not going to happen. So I think the public deserves transparency on these types of issues. That's one of the reasons why we're trying to do the reforms, to make sure bills can flow that the American people at least have indicated that they want to see happen, and to make sure that there's transparency in government to a much higher level than we've seen in the last year and a half.
Recently, I learned that there's a feature of the tax system called opportunity zone.
Right.
Can you say about
I can say a lot about it. I was the co-sponsor of the bill. And then it went into the tax bill, and I had to vote against my own bill. So anyway, we have a large swath of rural America in those opportunity zones. Over time, within the next year, because they're still setting the regulatory environment, but the intention of that is for those zones to be able to get a higher level of investment into them because of either tax credits or other vehicles that the government can do to help out impoverished areas, rural areas, as the changing environment of rural America continues. And it's going to continue. Rural America has lost 200-something whole generation. Now, there is going to be better, but there sure are a lot of families who lost
My understanding is the governor that picked the side.
This governor has already picked it. There's 18 of them. Most of Navajo County, most of Apache County, almost all of the Navajo Nation. Goes down. I'm happy. I didn't pick them, but it really helped my district. As my wife wants to say, our district.
Yes.
Because at the time you don't own the district. You get used to it in Washington by saying, what's going on with your district, my district? But that's trying to change. But I hope they work. I think they're needed. I don't think Flagstaff's in it, but a lot of areas right around Flagstaff are. And the eastern half of the state is the most impacted by the amount area that you have. Next question. All the way back.
Congressman, thank you. Do you know or have you heard anything about attempts within the Interior Department to take away money for research for the National Park Service and then by extension the Grand Canyon Monitoring and Research Center here in town that gets protected,
I'm going to have to ask you to come up first.
Okay, you can't hear me?
No.
Okay. Have you heard anything about attempts to strip away money for National Park research and the Grand Canyon Monitoring and Research Center here in Flagstaff?
I haven't specifically heard that, but it's obvious from the steps that the administration is taking that they're not exactly friendly to science. That's why we had this march here and across the nation. I got climate change is something that's almost universally accepted now, except by certain people. And I remember over the years that Rush Limbaugh was talking about climate change in almost every one of his shows, I guess. And in public speeches and everything. You don't hear that anymore. Because he knows he's on the wrong side of it. The administration does not know yet that they're on the wrong side of that. That people do want good air quality. They do want to have a planet that can survive. They do want to be able to overcome the terrible impacts of pollution of our waterways and our aquifers, the asthma within our families, and impacting their children the way it is, the way it will get worse as they live longer in life. So, the climate caucus, which I'm trying to get into, you have to have one of each party. You can't find many Republicans. But the climate caucus does have Republicans in it. They do believe something. And I guarantee you, there's about 30 races out there that Republicans are in, and they don't want to talk about the fact that climate change is not occurring. Because they'll be out of office in about a second and a half. People of America have woken up. Now we just have to make sure that the leaders wake up, no matter if it's now or in the future. It has to change. Next question. Okay.
I read something that the Transportation Safety Authority was considering cutting TSA checking points at 350 airports, including probably ours.
Now you feel safe.
Is there, have you heard about that? I assume it's part of DHS's budget?
It's part of nothing right now. They haven't come through Congress for that. We've written bipartisan letters on that issue already, to the transportation and to the administration. That this is a terrible idea. They're going to assess it over the course of the next year. But I still want them to assess it and waste all that money. You can't operate with us. Have a safe environment. We need 60 people that are going in the wrong direction. And I don't know how much more costly it would be to not only have people coming inbound on planes that have to catch another flight to get them through security, and then people coming in our major airports. And I don't know who came up with it. He's not here. That's why it's not going to be. Nobody, if you're a city type of urban type of congressperson, you're going to say, you're going to affect my people by somebody coming into the airport that hasn't secured. And from the rural atmosphere, you're going to do just what you're here for. You're going to make it so that our airports are not used for commercial travel. No, it's terrifying. I'm saddened, and we said it, I'm saddened that there is things that's done again. It's terrible concept.
I've heard also kind of what Rose had to say about the grand staircase Escalante. First, of course, they reduced the monument, then they opened it up to mining, and now there's discussion with regards to selling off hundreds of acres within the what used to be the monument. Have you heard anything on that?
Well, we know that they were attempting to do that in a number of locations around the country in order to find ways for government. Basically, they say it's for state government because they want to turn it over to the states. And we've fought this battle here in Arizona time and time again. And Utah has fought the same battle with their legislature. So has Colorado and others. It's a kind of a Western thing. Coast. Anyway, it's kind of a Western issue. There's a Western caucus that keeps pushing it. And our legislature, under its current leadership, is pushing it also. I mean, that's an asset of American people. That's an economic driver of rural America. It's about our water and our aquifers. And it also is about the recreational aspects, whether it's hunters or fishing or whatever. And they kind of go, oh, we'll push that aside. We need to develop it for other things. We have plenty of leaks in the village. It's like forestry. Right now, this Arizona, mostly in the northern part of the state, has 450,000 acres that are already NEPA approved for forestry. It's just not economic right now. And we've been working with Forefry, which is working up here also, to try to find a mechanism to address that. And we have also tried to get some incentive bills through Congress to actually put money in behind it. And I just put out a letter to the Chief of Forest Service and to every one of the supervisors around this area that I want to see, now that they don't have to fight fires with their money, it frees up a lot of their money, how they're going to address the restoration of our forests and our aquifers and so forth. So I don't want them to all of a sudden think that they have free money to do anything they want when we have such a deteriorating state of our natural resources.
If there's evidence of further Russian interference in the upcoming election and the House is won, maybe the Senate, would Democratic Congress consider declaring war?
No.
Okay, I was like, this is an out there question.
No, I understand where you're coming from.
I mean, it's
Cyber war can lead to real war.
yeah.
Subtle pressures, they're not addressing the subtle pressures that we do. Tariff hasn't been talked about, but, we didn't negotiate with all these countries first and say, let's try to work this out before we have to go to tariffs and have warfare, economic warfare between ourselves.
That would be the first step.
That would be a good idea.
Okay.
Instead, what we got as a country is threats of tariffs, then they were taken off, then they're put out again, then across the Pacific Rim, all those countries that have now come together, if we think that we're going to be able to pick them off, we're not going to be able to do that. And they're making contractual obligations now during this, so that when it does happen, if it's a long-term thing, that they have their chain of supply at our expense. So that's why you fought this. Whether it's war, tariffs, or any of these, some of these harebrained ideas, it's better to talk it out between us and the American people. And this was a surprise to everyone. There were probably 3 people who knew this was coming. And that's where I think that we have to come together as a society and have a discussion on the importance of Congress stating that it's for demanding that to take it down. Harry, how much time we have?
One more question from Harriet. You asked. All right. You were talking this morning about the bright young things that you're seeing within Congress, within the Democratic Party, like the next generation.
Good.
And I would love to have you. We don't read about it because we read about Arizona unless we read the New York Times, and then you get New York. So, who are the bright young things we should be watching rise as the future stars?
Well, Adam should. His personality is a little like this, but he's a highly intelligent person. He really has a presence, a knowledge of the issues he's talking about. He's Adam Schiff. Eric Seawald from California. He's a bright, intelligent person. Those are the 2 big up-and-comers. Kathleen Clark from Massachusetts. We have about 20 people that I think could eventually be in leadership roles. High ones. We have to transition somewhere. And most of the leadership, as everybody's indicated, is fairly old. And not that I think old is a good thing. But we have to find a different way of addressing leadership in Congress. Our party takes a different tack than the Republican Party. Our party says if you come in as freshmen, you're going to be on all the lower committees. Which is probably fine for the majority of us because we don't have any practical experience in Congress in the first place. But there's a lot of experts that are coming in that have worked in these industries for a long time. Or in judiciary, been lawyers for a long time. We have one guy that finally got into the judiciary that writes books on the Constitution. And so we need to do it in public. The chairman, go back in rotation. Freshmen do get on all the major committees so that we can develop that leadership capacity. We should reach out to our legislature and start to work with them and bring them, it's like the farm system, and not just have them all of a sudden say, I want to go to Congress. Once they get there, we want them to try. But once they get there, they're ready, they're prepared. We should have a whole educational program on leadership and open it up to everybody. I don't know who's the brightest or not, but if we open it up and educate our base of leaders, then we'll have a better and more effective process going forward.
Thank you.
So with that, Harry's going to take over the microphone.
Okay, so what I said in Sedona, and I'm going to get behind the podium and protect myself, I told everyone was, if we want to make a change, and if we want to save our country, and if we want to make things right the way we think they ought to be, look at yourself and look at the people around you. We need to vote, and we need to tell the people who don't understand the link between our turning out, even if we don't know the person, or I don't know what he stands for, or I don't know who she is, or what are they going to do? I haven't met them yet, and don't want to vote, we will lose. This is how. We've learned it very well. If we're not turned on and excited and wanting a good-looking candidate or something like that, we don't vote. Or we disagree on one issue and we don't vote. This is a guarantee of how to lose. So my point to you is, if you're tired of losing, you and everyone else has to vote. And that's the only thing I know to say.